Hey, how's it going, everyone? Sinister here at the gamer section, and welcome to our channel. Hope y'all like and hit that like button and subscribe. We appreciate your support. Anyways, this is another review video. This time, this is Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 for the Nintendo Switch. We're gonna sit there and break down the plot, the graphics, the gameplay, etc. Hope y'all sit back and enjoy. So, let's get down to business, shall we? Alright, basically this game is a continuation from the last two games. However, with this game, it's a lot different from the past two because there's no link between the previous two games. So basically, in other words, like this game, plot-wise, is basically it's its own game. Like I said, there's no mention what happened to the past two games because the past two games, the first one dealt with the Masters of Evil, fighting Doctor Doom. And of course, the sequel was doing the Civil War. So and of course now, on the cover, and of course you seen the subtitle. This was the Black Order. You probably it's like, who's the Black Order? For those who don't know, in the comics, the Black Order is basically Thanos' army. The army of most powerful villains. And they consist of Proxima Midnight, her husband Corvus Glaive, Black Dwarf, aka called Obsidian, and Ebony Maw and Supergiant. And of course, that caused a reign of terror to the heroes of the Marvel Universe. And of course, in the plotline, also consists of the Infinity Gauntlet that happened back in the 90s. But of course, this game takes like the feel of it, mainly consists like something from the MCU. I love the last two Avengers movies, like Infinity War and Endgame, things of that nature. So anyways, basically, like, okay, the graphics. I mean, the graphics look, superb, to me and stuff. But it kind of looks the same. And of course, gameplay wise, you can tell from the angle. You have like your four heroes. From a top-down view, like it's like you're playing like a dungeon crawler. The past games and things of that nature. And of course, you're probably wondering like who did the graphics and published it. So. Basically, the publisher is Koei Tecmo, and its developer is Team Ninja. And basically, Team Ninja usually develops games for Tecmo, basically like the Ninja Gaiden series, just as an example. And of course, like the previous two games was done by Ravensoft and published by Activision. And of course, like the previous two games, you can see in almost every console, even it been ported to the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. Excuse me. And then of course moving on, and the gameplay wise is basically the same like the other two games. You get, you can control any of the four heroes, basically with your D-pad. It's just depending on the team that you have. Like if you have like a team like the Guardians of the Galaxy or the X-Men, usually you get some kind of team bonus and things of that nature. Or sometimes you can get heroes, form your own custom team and some have like something in common. And you probably get another, like I said, set bonus, depending on what it is. And of course, fight enough enemies, you build your meter up. You can use like your super meter, basically like a super move. Or you can also like team up with your teammates and just do like devastating damage to your enemies, things like that. And of course, like the gameplay that you see in the background is the gameplay of the Guardians of the Galaxy. And basically, they'll tell you, the controls. How to dodge, how to stack your enemies, just for example. And of course, like, build up your meter, and like I say, you just hit the top two buttons, like the left and the right, just let off your super move. And then of course, like I said, just unleashing, damage to your enemies just to progress. And of course, it's also helpful against bosses, like Nebula or Ronin, and things like that. And of course, like the roster, you got like over 30 characters, and of course you got more if you have the expansion pass and things like that. Because, like I said, you have example. You got the Guardians of the Galaxy, you got Spider-Man, you got the X-Men, the Hulk, things like that. And of course, like anybody who follows the MCU, of course you're gonna have those characters in this game. And of course, like the plot line in this game, which I forgot to mention, involves the Infinity Stones, where of course I call it the Infinity Gems. And of course, that's been like, what Thanos always been obsessing about, and that's why he has the Black Order around. he sends his crew out just to, retrieve these gems so that way he can rain carnage across the universe and things like that. And of course, it's up to the heroes to stop him. So that's basically about it. As far as like the controls go, I mean, it feels just like I played on the other consoles. But of course, like, the button layout is different. Of course, the D-pad, you can switch between your heroes, who you have on your team. And of course, you got your face buttons, but sometimes, you can, combine the two and stuff like that, and just unleash some of your skills and abilities and things like that. So they come in handy. But of course, like, however, you can also, like, play by yourself, or you can play with other people. If you play online with other people, like, and you have, like, somebody has a strong internet connection and you don't, you relying on Wi-Fi, and like sometimes you get a little hiccups there and there, because I kind of experienced some little hiccups here and there while I was playing, but this just a minor gripe. But however, I do recommend using Ethernet, for a stronger connection if you team up online, which would be very helpful, things like that. So, like, is there anything like that hammers the game down? Well, because like I mentioned, that was just one of the cons I mentioned, because sometimes, if you have bad connection, it kind of slows you down if you're trying to team up with somebody. But however, as the experience goes, I mean, the game is great. But of course, I mean, I'm sure people that have like their own opinions about this, things like that. So, but all in all, before I close out, you probably have wondered, what review will I give this? Well, for Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, I like to give it a 4 out of 5. I'm going to get the cons out of the way, because like I said, like I mentioned earlier with the online issue, basically if you want, you have Wi-Fi, and sometimes you're going to get a little hiccups, a little lag in there, but of course, then, that's going to be common, actually play online. Then, and of course, like, you team up with somebody who has a stronger connection, and of course you probably have to rely on that connection just to get through, just trying to get a better experience and things like that. And of course, another con is, of course, for those who are new to the series and trying to get they find they're gonna find it getting cumbersome with the controls and things. And of course, it's expected. I mean, of course, you want to learn as a veteran at these games, like these dungeon crawls things. That's not. I mean, it's not gonna be a problem for them. But of course, like, one of the positives I like about it, just, I mean, I like in the story, things like that, but I wish, the plot line will follow like the last game, like the previous two games, so that way, it flows better. But of course, as stated, like, this game is pretty much like an MCU kind of game, instead of like its own stuff like that. But even though it is its own and things of that nature. So anyway, tell me about your thoughts about this game. Leave your comments down below. Like, subscribe. This is Sinister. Be easy. Take care.